Hello and welcome to Tapping Tips. My name's Katie Walker. I'm an emotional freedom technique, EFT trainer, mentor and practitioner. And today I wanted to share with you a particular technique which can help with increasing the amount of breath that you can receive into your lungs. It can help with your breathing because when we're in a stressed state, our breath can be impacted. And there's a range of reasons why that happens. But if we're holding tension and tightness in our upper body, we're kind of filling in that constricted space, which is not going to allow for an easy flow of air into our lungs. Being stressed, we can start to have shallow breath, and it's not an easy flow coming into our lungs. So this particular technique is one that you can use on a daily basis. It's called constricted breathing, as I said. And what I would like to invite you to do is take 3 breaths. Take 3 breaths into your lungs, and on the 3rd breath, I would love for you to be able to rate the amount of air that you are feeling like you're receiving into your lungs. So it's 0 to 100%. 100% full capacity, 0, we need to worry a little bit. But just, I'm going to pause for a moment and allow for you to take 3 breaths in. And as I said, on that 3rd breath, rate it 0 to 100%. I'm going to do the same thing. So my 3rd breath, I would suggest it's probably sitting at around a 75%. So write down what your percentage is, 0 to 100%. As I said, 100% full capacity. You can still do this technique with me. You can still play along. But let's just see whether we can help to increase the amount of air that's coming into your lungs. So what we're going to do is on the side of the hands where we do what we call a setup statement. So between the pinky and the wrist, that fleshy part of the hand, this is where we are going to say a few words, and then I will take you through the other tapping points. So here's how we roll. So I'm going to invite you to repeat after me. Even though I can only get 75% of air into my lungs, I still deeply and completely accept myself. And even though I can only get 75% of air into my lungs, I still deeply and completely accept myself. Or the other thing that you can say is, even though I have this constricted breathing and can only get 75% of air into my lungs, I still deeply and completely accept myself. So we say that 3 times, we state what it is, and then we have that balancing statement or that acceptance statement. I can still deeply and completely accept myself, or this is just how I feel, or this is just where I'm at. If you've seen other videos, you'll know that we can change up that end statement, but there has to be some acceptance at the end. And then we go to the top of the head. This constricted breathing. Start of the eyebrow. This constricted breathing. Side of the eye. I can only get 75% of air into my lungs. Under the eye. I can only get 75% of air into my lungs. Under the nose, this constricted breathing. Under the lips, this constricted breathing. Your collarbone. I can only get 75% of air into my lungs. And then under the arm, this constricted breathing. Then just coming back to the side of the hand. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but at the collarbone point, I actually did take more breath into my lungs. So again, I'm going to invite you to take 3 breaths. And on that 3rd breath, try and take as much air into your lungs as you can and just see whether there's been a shift. So I'm going to pause for a second and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take the 3 breaths in. And the 3rd breath. So by my calculation, that's probably gone up by about 5%, I'm going to say. So it's subjective to me. So notice for you. Now, sometimes what can happen is as we're tuning in, you might find that the capacity has actually gone down. What we're wanting, obviously, for it to do is increase. So that for me is probably sitting around an 80, 85. So we're just going to do that again. So just repeating after me, even though I have this constricted breathing and I can only get 80% of air into my lungs, this is just where I'm at the moment. And even though I have this constricted breathing and I can only get 80% of air into my lungs, I still deeply and completely accept myself. And even though I have this constricted breathing and I can only get 80% of air into my lungs, I still deeply and completely accept myself. So it's the 3 times, the top of the head, this constricted breathing, start of the eyebrow, this constricted breathing, side of the eye, this constricted breathing, under the eye. I can only get 80% of air into my lungs. Under the nose, this constricted breathing. Under the lip, I can only get 80% of air into my lungs. Collarbone, this constricted breathing. And then under the arm, this constricted breathing. So again, just coming back to the side of the hand, and I just want you to notice. We're taking in again 3 breaths. And then on that 3rd breath, notice whether the capacity is increased. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pause, tapping on the side of the hand. And I'm going to take 3 breaths in, and I invite you to do the same thing. I can already feel that's increased just on that smaller breath. And the 3rd breath, bringing as much air into my lungs as I can. So for me, that would have gone up to about 90%. So we're going to do it one more time. And I invite you to just keep coming back to this video and do this every day if needed. Let's do it one more time. So tapping on the side of the hand. Even though I still have this constricted breathing and I can only get 90% of air into my lungs, I still deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I still have this constricted breathing and can only get 90% of air into my lungs, this is just where I'm at the moment. And even though I have this constricted breathing and I can only get 90% of air into my lungs, I still deeply and completely accept myself. 3 times, top of the head. I can only get 90% of air into my lungs. Obviously, you're changing that for the percentage for you. Side of the eyebrow, this constricted breathing. Side of the eye, this constricted breathing. Under the eye, this constricted breathing. Under the nose, I can only get 90% of air into my lungs. Under the lip, this constricted breathing. Collarbone, this constricted breathing. And then under the arm, this constricted breathing. Beautiful. And I'm just going to say take a pause. And I'm going to take a breath in and see how I'm feeling. So I noticed that I went from about a 75% to about a 95%. So if I choose to, I can still do another round or 2, or I might just change up to go, well, what might be affecting my breath at the moment? Am I feeling some tightness or tension in my body? I have a video on working with body sensations, body pain, so please refer back to that. It could also be me thinking about something that's coming up, something that might be causing me to feel a bit of anxiety or stress or overwhelm. So then I'm going to focus specifically on what that might be. Or it might have been something that's just happened that's still sitting in my body. When I think about it, it's still causing me to feel a particular emotion that's then impacting my breath. So we just want to get a bit curious then, what might be affecting what's going on with the breath? So please refer back to other tapping tips that I have put up on my YouTube channel and on Facebook to just know how we can then move from technique to technique depending on what's showing up for you. So I hope that's been really helpful. I do have a handout, so if you're interested in getting that handout that you can read along, if you feel that that's easier for you, or just come back to this video, but please send me an email at hello@katiewalkereft.com or go to my website, www.katiewalkereft.com. You'll be able to join my community there, and then you can request to receive the instructions for constricted breathing. So thank you for joining me, and I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.